shout out to EJ, did a donation and request for, yes, Close to the Edge, full album. So here we go. Hopefully it doesn't get blocked. I'm going to try really hard to not pause it very much, but this is really long, and I do not need this to get blocked. It'll be like 2 hours worth of work, you know. This is different. I didn't know what to expect. It sounded like rainforest in the beginning, and then all of a sudden we went to like almost an alien type sound. Published in 2012. When I was 16, this was my favorite album. I'm 60, and it still is. Chris Squire drove the bus that took all the other bass players to school. Nice. My first rock album, couldn't stop playing it for months. 40 years ago, it blew up my mind and heart. Still in love with it. Nice, Cecilia. When this album came out, I rode my bike about a mile. Yes, rode a bike. That's how old I was. People in France still ride bikes. Up to the Kmart and bought it. In about a month, I had my 4 walls and my ceiling covered in the Yes album cover art, and their music playing daily, and it's still today. Dad, I close my eyes, about to turn 60, and smile as I listen again and again. This never gets old. Nice, Aaron. 5 brilliant musicians at the very peak of their prodigious powers. See that? So it's Rush that has 3, Led Zeppelin that has 4, and Yes that has 5. Okay, let's go. I'm already letting it go way over 5 minutes. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to redo this. I'm gonna be really upset at myself. I kind of got carried away listening to the lyrics and just kind of thinking how I feel, you know, listening to this. It's a carefree, almost kind of feeling. And the instruments, I'm like trying to pinpoint, you know, what all went into this. It's very interesting. And I don't say that lightly. This, I know, takes a lot of work to sound like this. So it's very intriguing. But I still, you know, I gotta get a feel for this. That's why I didn't play Zeppelin before this. Learn my lesson. If you were stranded on an island, would Close to the Edge be one of your albums to take? Yes, for me. That's funny. Close to the Edge. If angels came to earth and were asked to give us a glimpse of heaven, oh my goodness, I'd be so happy. And you and I, if you got to go on a date with the most beautiful woman in the world, and all you could think of was, how did this just happen to you? If angels did meth and turned their glorious hymns into pure musical energy. Listening for the first time right now at age 15. Really loving it. That is cool, Henry. I'm convinced that most progressive rock bands from the 70s were aliens in disguise. Well, it sounded like the first 30 seconds was something that would come from space. Side A, Close to the Edge, The Solid Time of Change, Total Mass Retain, 604. I Get Up, I Get Down, Season of Man at 1412. Side B, And You and I, Siberian Khatru, Chord of Life. Oh, I see. Siberian Khatru, right here. If angels did meth and turn their glorious hymns into pure musical energy. Okay. Eclipse at 22:29, The Preacher, the Teacher at 24:58, Apocalypse at 28:08, and Siberian Khatru at 28:51. Thank you. Is there a reply? Yeah, thank you, Brandon. That was 8 months ago. This album is a masterpiece, just like Tchaikovsky, Beethoven. Yes. Okay. Go back. Oh, not that far. The world within my hand. The human time is logic, all the reasons we don't understand. Sad parents claim the beach is standing still for all to see. As on the move, a Duke approach to overlook the sea. The sense to call the license, all the reasons we understood would be. Down at the end, close by a river, close to the edge, round by the corner. Close to the end, down by the corner, down at the edge, round by the river. Sudden cold shouldn't take away the startled memory. All in all, the journey takes you all the way. As apart from any reality that you've ever seen and known. Guessing problems only to deceive dimension. Passing past the climb halfway into the void. As we cross from side to side, we hear the total mass retain. Down at the edge,
price of honesty cannot change. How many mysteries do we deceive each day? I get up, I get down, I get up, I get down. In charge of who is there in charge of me? Do I look on blindly and say I see no way? The truth is written all along the page. How old will I be before I come of age for you? I get up, I get down, I get up, I get down, I get up, I get down. I get down.
That was brilliant. Wow, this just really made me very relaxed. I'm not supposed to be relaxed. I've got tons to do, but I almost feel like it was like a Beach Boys type sound, but really edgy. I don't know if that can be, it had the water dripping. It made me feel like we're far away in some weird planet. But then it had these calming, familiar melodies, and then just the simpleness of we get up, we get down. You know, it can be taken in so many different ways. You know, you can relate it to yourself however you want. Oh, I like that. That might be the only song I like on here. I don't know. We'll see. I remember walking through Amsterdam alone, balsted on mushrooms, and this on my headphones. It felt like I was walking through time. Well, I feel like I'm not walking, but sitting through time right now. Nico. What an awesome bass player. How did I buy this album ages ago? So I went to the record store, stoned as F. Well, I need to buy some death metal stuff or something. Standing in front of a wall of cassettes for who knows how long, I got lost into myself for real. Suddenly, a salesman interrupted my universe with this aggressive, "May I help you? What are you looking for?" That was just horrible. I couldn't even escape from the shop, so I was standing there, and my mouth finally mumbled, "Yes." So he turned out and brought a few cassettes and started to read the titles. Close to the Edge, and looked at me closely. My mind was destroyed. I was sure he found out I'm on drugs, and he can see my embarrassment. I wanted to answer apologetically, "Yes, I am. Please do not torture me any longer." But it was infeasible for me. I just nodded my head and paid the given price. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's why you don't do drugs, kids. Don't do them.
I get up, I get down.
It is good. I didn't realize how time is just flying by. It really is. We're already at 17 minutes. That doesn't seem like, it seems like nothing. It seems like we spent 5 minutes listening. Almost 46 years after, and still this album touches my soul and makes me happy to be a progressive rock fan. I never thought I would be a fan of progressive rock, but then again, I don't know much about it. You guys tell me, like, Rush is the father of progressive rock. So does that mean because it's like those alien type sounds? Is that what makes it progressive? See, I don't know. I have no idea. I feel a bit sorry for kids today. Okay, Arnold. That they miss a great experience. Bringing home a great album as this, plopping it on the turntable, putting on a great pair of headphones. I see a lot of people on my Instagram. Shout out to Danny Onions. He still does that. He has his own beautiful record player, so beautiful, and then he has all these different albums and he plays them. He always shows them on his Instagram. It's so nice, so nice. Leaning back and reading the liner notes or just listening in the dark. Don't worry, people are still doing that. I assumed I would outgrow my love for this music. I never have. I'm almost 60 years old, and this album still makes me dance and weep because it's so beautiful. Nicely said, Catherine. I recently got a vinyl of this masterpiece. So worth it. I believe so. If this is what you love, of course it's worth it. If you're a musician, then this is a great LP no matter what other people are saying. All-time best album and friend in tough times for those who have an open mind, ear, and heart for it. Thank you for sharing. Kirsten Bachman. People, God, please send us more talented musicians. God, yes. Perfectly said.
Okay.
reasons to call.
Hold on. Sold. Greatness will endure. Absolutely. I will never forget this album, as it was my girlfriend Wendy who first introduced me to this band. Wendy walked away some years ago, but I will never stop loving her. No matter what, I always have to come back to Close to the Edge by Yes. Close to the Edge by Yes is amazing. John Anderson is the vocals, Steve Howe, 6/12 string acoustic, lead rhythm guitars, Rick Wakeman, organ, keyboards, piano, Chris Squire, bass, rest in peace, Bill Bruford, drums, London, England, UK, circa 1968-1972. Amazing comment, Dean. We have since devolved. They were kids writing songs like this. Yeah. At 16, I found this masterpiece right here. This same video. Now at my 19, I still love it and have the album on vinyl, CD, and cassette, and excited for the future. At my 40s, showing this to my sons, and hopefully they love this album same as me. It's just a masterpiece. Well said. I don't take Microdot or Blotter anymore, but I still listen to the music that sends me up. Quite possibly the most meaningful album of all time. Never gets old. If you've never experienced this on vinyl, I'm sorry for you. Alright, let's go. I went back, yes.
And you and I climb over the sea to the valley. And you and I reach out for reasons to call. same teacher be there, reminded of the rhyme. There'll be no mutant enemy we shall certify. Political ends, our sad remains will die. Reach out as forward taste begin to enter you.
This man is talking about some, I mean, he's singing with all he's got, you know? Oh, man. I wish I knew more about Yes, but there's just no way. Not in 20 seconds am I going to learn everything. When I was about 3 years old, one of my family members gave a Rafi tape to me and my father. Couldn't stand it. His reaction was to have me listen to his entire record collection with him, have me pick out songs for a mixtape that he'd make for me. I love that mixtape to death. Definitely had some Yes involved there. Definitely remember staring at an album art for Relayer as a little kid and being totally amazed while it played. I should find out if that cassette still exists and see what was on it. The quality is probably horribly degraded, but I bet it still exists. That mixtape creation process helped me set off a lifetime of progressive rock, though. Nice. This is a masterpiece of an album. Ellen White is okay, but God, Bruford is simply amazing on this entire record. The rolls and fills and Close to the Edge is simply mind-blowing. That is kind of my favorite on this so far. The effing best album of all time. It doesn't audibly get any better than this. I am sad for anyone who doesn't get to experience this. Yes, fan for life. This is one of the best musical recordings ever produced. Steve Howe's playing is like someone from the future, 100 years ahead of time of the album's actual release. The rest of the band, all virtuosos without question. Completely changed my life, made me into exactly who I'm supposed to be. Nicely said, Kate Murphy.
Shapes of the morning, and you and I reach over the sun for the river, and you and I glide clearer towards the movement, and you and I gold over valleys of endless sea.
Fragile is their Sunday morning album for me. Close to the Edge is more Saturday afternoon. Too intellectual for parties, too frantic for chilling out, demands attention and awe. Nicely said, Andrew. Listening to this album was like looking at a painting in colors I'd never seen before. That was 4 months ago. As all Yes fans ask why this band had to wait so long to be inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I scratched my head as well. A complete track on a complete classic album. Rip Chris Squire. I used to think I could get to heaven listening to Yes music. This album is why. Why and why? And why I still love this kind of music? I read through the comments. The majority seem glued to their perception about this kind of music. And even at the age of almost 70, I feel I am at my early 20s listening to this old music. Some of the most complex musicianship I've ever heard. My favorite band of all, and I have many. What a ton of talent. I feel stoned AF after listening to this, but haven't touched any weed for years. This was an innovation. I love early Yes, that Yes album, another classic, timeless. Never ever gets old. What a gift of music. I believe this album is the best one in all the progressive rock albums. Ellen White is okay, but playing this for the first time in 30 years, it's apparent that Bill Bruford is the far superior drummer. That was from Thunder God. Here we go. groovy. I felt like we were doing Saturday Night Fever, you know? This is so different from anything I've ever heard before. It's gonna take me some getting used to. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it at all. I've never grown up with this, you know? I bought this album when I was 13 in 72. I still binge listen to it often and still can't get enough. Wonderful voice, John Anderson. Wonderful instrumental music, Rick, Steve, Chris, beautiful. I remember perfectly well. It was 76 and I went to a record shop where you could exchange records. I exchanged Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd for Close to the Edge. I have never made a wiser decision in my life. Thanks, yes. This is a truly masterpiece of progressive rock. This is one of my all-time favorite albums to which I've been listening repeatedly since around 72. Hey, what are you listening to? Yes. That's nice. This album is a majesty, and this was only a month ago. All members of the group giving their maximum art. Since the 70s, I did not listen to them. Thanks for sharing. To listen to a Yes album is to go on a journey over a landscape which requires some smart gear changes, the pace constantly changing with the terrain, compelling, intelligent, and often simply beautiful. These guys were pioneers. Let's remember them. Well said, Peter. What I love best about this album is in between the out-of-box genius pieces and instrumentation are those sweet melodies that emerge like little villages within a beautiful forest. I like that. Yes, Genesis, ELP, Padroni. Oh, I don't know what this says. This bloody album still gives me goosebumps. Thanks. Many thanks for the upload. Like to see a band try this today. Now that would be funny. Steve Howe. Such a good guitarist. How many listening in 2019? Well, we're here. We are here. Let's go. 6 seconds left. 3 seconds. 1 second. Okay. That, from someone who knows absolutely nothing about progressive rock, this has got to be the best out of everything. As far as, I can't say that, like, I'm going to compare this and Rush, because I don't know enough to compare. But as far as in the Yes albums, because there's got to be more than just one album, this is probably the best, right? It was so different. I didn't know that they could just do a whole 180 just in the middle of a song. Instead of the song staying the same throughout, it completely changed in the just like right dead center almost, and then just went. I'm like, what just happened? There were so many changes and switch ups, and then you had the lyrics, and it was just really beautiful. Very different. Like I said, it's going to take me some getting used to. It's not that I dislike it, it's just very different from what I'm used to. I guess you could say I've been very, how do you say it, exposed to, you know, everything else, but nothing like this. So this was definitely different. I'm hoping that this doesn't get blocked. I'm really hoping. So thank you so much for this, and I see that I have like 8 more songs that I need to do. Some are Yes and some are Rush, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what else. Like, is it going to be similar? Is it going to be different? But now that people know how little I know about progressive rock, maybe they'll give me a little bit more information as to what constitutes that, and just how much genius it takes going into this kind of an album, because it does sound very technically difficult. Okay, that's all. Hopefully I made sense. I don't know if I did or not, but that's just what I wanted to throw out there. And let's keep going. Thank you very much. Thank you for being so patient. I know this took a while to get to you, but it was never a good time for me to, every time I would try to get started, it was just one after another. So I said, you know what, 1 in the morning, 12 at night sounds good, let's go. So here we are.